once we create all of our profiles and we're ready to look at our profile listing, I'm going to go ahead and open up a finished profile listing. Here, profiles, and I have an example here using Muppets. So let's go ahead and open the Muppet Show profile listing. You can see in this folder, in this profile section, we have a number of different profiles that we've already created. We have our index, that's our profile listing. That will group all of these profiles into one page and display them in a nice, consistent way. And then down here we have another profile section within this profile section. And I'll get to that in just a second. But let's go ahead and open up the profile listing. And when we have these, if you're not already familiar, you can see that we actually don't have a preview of what that final look is going to look like. And so if we want to preview any changes that we've made, we'll need to publish that. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the live version of this page. And here is our profile listing. And you can see we have the Muppet Show group here. And everyone except for Kermit the Frog is listed in alphabetical order. So this is pretty much the default way that your profiles will show up. You'll have the image here with their name and some other information underneath. But let's go ahead and make some changes to this and see some of what else we can do. So what we need to do, if we want to make changes to the way that this looks, we're going to need to first check out the page and go to Properties. And here in Parameters, that's where we'll start making changes. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and step back to this edit mode and show you kind of a shortcut or a helpful thing I like to do. Instead of going to Properties and Parameters, you might notice over here on the right that we have a section here called Page Parameters. If you don't see that, go ahead and click on this little gear icon next to Gadgets and make sure that the Page Parameters option is checked. So make sure that this box is checked and click Save, and you should see this Page Parameters here. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And this is the same information that's up here in Properties and Parameters, just over here on the right. So this lets us see our page. And we don't have to navigate back and forth. We can do everything we need to do over here on the right. So the first thing I'm going to do is scroll past this title and description. If you want to change this information or edit this information, you can do that here. We can also add keywords and tags, but I'm assuming we're already sort of set on this. If we want to change the display or the look of the list, we'll scroll down, and I'm going to skip directory for right now. It says target and waterfall. We'll come back to this towards the end. So we'll start here with display type. And so right now we're in this display mode, which features a large profile image. These images right here sort of focuses on the images themselves with the information sort of smaller underneath. But what we can do is we can switch this to a list mode. So maybe you have a really large group in your department, and then maybe it's a little bit easier to just show a list and make it simple for people visiting your page to find the person that they're looking for. So we can go to this list mode. And right now we're in the group sort. So we're in the group sort, but let's go ahead and switch this to alphabetical. So this will list everyone in alphabetical order. And we can also change the name display. So it was full name first and last, but we can also switch that to last name first. So let's do that. And down here we have section display options. So by default, it'll show the image, the person's title, their email and phone number. But we can also turn on things like department and college, and really anything else that we want to include that they've added to their profiles, we can add that to display. Once we're done there, we'll click Save. And again, because we don't have a preview of that, we'll have to publish that before we can see those changes take place. So I'm going to publish this. And here's our new view. So you can see, because we're in alphabetical order, we get this list of letters up here at the top. So we can quickly jump down if we need to. If we know who we're looking for, we can just click on the letter for their name and find them down below. But you can see everything is separated by letter instead of the group that they're a part of. And we still have images here. You can also see we've added some information that displays. And so that just shows over here on the right. And that's our new display. If we want to compare it to the previous look, I'll click to this. So quite a difference. Something else we can do, if we go to this list mode, sometimes it's a little bit simpler. If we remove the image, and you just feature the information. So it's up to you, but there's a couple different ways you can lay that out. If you want to include more information or less, you can do that as well. And what's nice about these profiles is if I click on that individual, I can get more information. It takes me to their profile so we can see everything that person wants to include in their profile. So there's more information, more contact information, website information, and all that stuff that we filled out when we created those profiles. So it's not important that we have that all here. The idea of this is that we want to keep this relatively simple and easy to navigate. And then if people are interested or they want to know information, they can find that by clicking through and going to the individual profile. So I'm going to set this back to where we started, that display mode, group, full name, add the image, we'll save, and we'll publish. And we're back to where we started. And now you'll see we have two different sections here. We have the Muppet Show group, but we also have a group underneath called the Electric Mayhem, which is the Muppet Band. And those are separated, and you might wonder how those are separated like that. If you remember, if we go back to our folder, we had a lot of profiles here. We also had a separate folder for the Electric Mayhem. So anytime you have a subfolder within your profile listing, that's going to create a separate group. And so you can have one, you can have more of these if you want to. These will end up being or listing in alphabetical order. And so if you want to change that, if you want to reorder these subsections, there's a way to do that, but you might want to reach out to us. Go ahead and fill out a request at wichita.edu/web support, and we'll kind of walk you through that and make sure that you're doing everything as you should. But that's kind of the basics of how that works. So go ahead and play around with these options for your profile listings. Remember, we check out the page and go to page parameters. And if you have any questions, let us know.